All right, Shalom. All right, Shalom. First and foremost, as always, I want to give all praises, honor, and the glory unto Yahawah, Bahashim YAHAWASHI, Bahashim Rakak. Double honors to the apostles and unto the elders, great millstone. GMS who taught me this truth. Honors to the brethren and the fellow Akim out there that is pushing out this truth with all sincerity and in faith into Wadi Yahawah, Bahashim YAHAWASHI, for allowing me once again to come back with another lesson. And the not too sure on what the title of this lesson will be, but I'll have to say it's going to be something about around the words of just having integrity and, really having, because the book of Job and the man Job, and not only just him, but many men that you read about in the scriptures of when they express and they talk about their sufferings and the things that they went through, that, Job, he's one of many men that you read about in the scriptures that had his integrity, who kept his integrity, and also kept his integrity and showed the true definition of having the spirit of resilience. Because that's when you read about the scriptures, man, that's and even not even just Job, like YAHAWASHI, he represents, at least in my opinion, the ultimate level of resilience, because he suffered greater than any man, and he suffered wrongfully. But now we see him at the right hand side of the Father, in perfect spirit and in perfect flesh. Okay. And Job, he also represents a good example of that as well. Although the Heavenly Father, he didn't ever, because that was the deal when we read into this first chapter of Job, he was, without even knowing, he was going to go through some stuff, But the Heavenly Father, he made it known that, okay, I'm going to let you do what you want with my man Satan. But guess what? There's only one rule and line in the sand that you cannot cross, and that's Satan. He couldn't kill Job. He could put him through whatever else he wanted, but in terms of taking his life or putting him to death, that wasn't a part of the deal. Okay, but we're going to get into this. Is Job 1:1, and there was a man in the land of Uz whose name was Job, and that man was perfect and upright, and one that feared the Heavenly Father and eschewed evil, meaning he avoided it by all means. And there were born unto him 7 sons and 3 daughters. His substance also was 7,000 sheep and 3,000 camels, and 500 yoke of oxen, and 500 she-asses, and a very great house, so that this man was the greatest of all men of the East. So Job, he had a good thing going, He had substance, he had a family, he had children, and he was prospering, And it says here, verse 4, and his sons went out and feasted in their houses, every one his day, and sent and called for their 3 sisters to eat and to drink with them. And it was so when they were, and it says, and it was so when the days of their feasting were gone about, that Job sent and sanctified them, and rose up in the morning, early in the morning, and offered burnt offerings, according to the number of them all. For Job said, it may be that my sons have sinned, and cursed the Heavenly Father in their hearts, meaning their mind. And thus did Job continually. Now there was a day when the sons of the Heavenly Father came to present themselves before the Lord, and Satan came also. So Satan, he also came. Why? Because, well, he also is a son of God, just on the left-hand side. Okay. Now, it says, and the Lord said unto Satan, whence comest thou? Meaning, where you been at? Huh? Where you been at? And it says, And it says, whence comest thou? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, from coming to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it. And the Lord said unto Satan, hast thou considered my servant Job, that there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, and one that feared the heavenly Father, and escheweth evil? Then Satan answered the Lord and said, doth Job fear the heavenly Father for naught? Because thou hast made an hedge about him, and about his house, and about all that he hath on every side. Thou hast blessed the works of his hand, and his substance is increased in the land. So basically, Satan's trying to tell, he's basically saying, well, the reason why is because you give him everything. You give Job everything. And it says, and this is what Satan has said, it says, but put forth thine hand now, and touch all that he hath, and he will curse thee to thy face. And the Lord said unto Satan, behold, all that he hath is in thy power, and upon himself put not forth thine hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of the Lord. So Satan, Most High said, no, okay, we gonna prove this. We gonna see who's right, So basically, he made a bet with Satan. He said, okay, you say that now. We're gonna find out here real soon, And there was a day when his sons and his daughters were eating and drinking wine in the eldest brother's house. And there came a messenger unto Job, and said, the oxen were plowing, and the asses feeding up beside them, and the Sabians fell upon them, and took them away. And it says, and they have slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. While he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, the fire from the heavenly Father is fallen from heaven, and hath burned up the sheep and the servants, and consumed them. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. And while he was yet speaking, there came also another, and said, the Chaldeans made their 3 bands, and fell upon the camels, and have carried them away, yea, slain the servants with the edge of the sword, and I only am escaped alone to tell thee. So he's getting all these things back to back to back to back, all this terrible, bad news that nobody would ever want to hear, right? And it says, and behold, there came a great wind, or verse 18, forgive me. And it says, and while he was yet speaking, there came also another and said, thy sons and thy daughters were eating and drinking wine in the eldest brother's house. And behold, there came a great wind from the wilderness, and smote the 4 corners of the house, and fell upon the young men, and they are dead. And I only am escaped alone to tell thee. Then Job arose, and rent his mantle, and shaved his head, and fell down upon the ground, and worshipped. And he said, naked came I out of my mother's womb, and naked shall return thither. The Lord gave, and the Lord hath taken away. Blessed be the name of the Lord. So he basically said, Barakatah YAHAWASHI, the water. He praised the Heavenly Father after all these things that happened to him. Even his own babies, his children being taken from him and killed. And it says, and in all this, Job sinned not, nor charged the Heavenly Father foolishly. So he kept his integrity, And Job is one of many examples of showing the spirit of resilience, and not folding like most people would when they were going through their adversity and their time of tribulation, their time of their testing. Job, he showed the spirit of him. Whatever was brought upon him in that time, he took it cheerfully, and he was patient when he was brought down to a low estate. So that's the message, all right? To stay strong, be strong in the Lord and in the power of his might, and to not give up, but to keep fighting, because this fight that we're in is only going to get tougher. And as it gets tougher, we must get tougher and fortify our minds and have these mental, because I was going to say mental calluses. Because calluses happen when, especially like if you're always a hands-on person, especially if your job is like very hands-on, like whether it be construction or building or whatever, you form these calluses on your hands. And that goes through you going through a lot of hard work and you suffering. And that's what we need to have on our minds, is these mental calluses, so that when these times do come upon us and whenever we find ourselves in the time of our adversity or our testing of our faith, we want to have that strong mind and to pray for the Heavenly Father for that strength, because we're going to need it, especially in these times. But I'm going to go ahead and end here. Just a quick little lesson. I pray this lesson was edifying, exhorting, and comforting. As always, I'm going to give all the praises, honor, and the glory unto Yahawah, Bahashim, Yahawashai, Bahashim, Rakak Wadesh. And it's on to the next one, Akim. Shalom.